Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to I'm on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron. This is episode 285, and I am alive. Am I well? I'd say I'm well. Good to see you. Hope it's good to hear me. I'm flying solo today. No Aaron Bauer. He's got some commitments with his kids, and obviously I can't drive. Oh, you don't know what's going on with me? You should, if you follow the show, social media. I had surgery on my completely torn left pec tendon. The significance of the left pec tendon being it's my good side. So I'm no longer one-armed and dangerous. I'm disarmed. So yeah, that's a real thing. What a nightmare. I've had my ups and downs. I'm documenting my ups and downs. We're going to talk about a little of the things that I've gone through over the last few days after the surgery. But we're also going to talk pro wrestling. We're going to answer your questions from social media. And we're going to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. And if you want to get more stuff, a buttload of bonus stuff, you can go over to patreon.com/ironwrestling. I've been uploading a bunch of videos, raw footage that I'm editing of some of the magazine videos that I'm working on, raw footage that I'm editing, putting together, documenting my current journey in a sling with no arms. So you can see that raw footage, extended footage, get a buttload of bonus content. I'm going to be uploading bonus audio podcasts this week because I have a lot of free time on my lack of hands. So I'm going to be working on a lot of audio, a lot of video, and I'm going to be writing, talking by my time. And $3 gets you in the door for Patreon. $5 gets you the bonus video. $9 the preferred tier. Sometime in the near future, before the month ends, I'm going to be talking with my brothers and sisters at the $9 tier in a live chat. It's been a while, so we're going to catch up there. And, you go up and up in tiers, you get stuff in the mail. We've got a second Patreon package coming in the mail for the month of March, so be on the lookout for that for people that are in the $25 and up tiers. And, yeah, it's the best way to support the show. If you'd like to support me in other ways, the GoFundMe that was started by Josh Excellence over on Patreon. You can donate to that. If you cannot donate, don't feel obligated. If you share it, that definitely helps. And that's going to help me a lot going forward as I have the inability to work, to wrestle, to really do anything going forward for the next few months. So this is going to keep me eating, paying my mortgage, all the stuff that I do to survive. You will be helping me with that, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. So, with the rambling out of the way there, to start the show, gosh, where do I begin? So, we recorded last week, and I was talking with Aaron. I was pretty optimistic, trying to stay positive, going to surgery. Day before, I was doing some last-minute stuff. Went out and bought some Crocs so I could easily get shoes on if I need to leave the house. Bought some bigger jogging pants. Bought a button-up shirt. I have a wide variety of hoodies. Didn't think about the fact that most of my hoodies are incredibly tight, so I'm figuring out things as I progress here. But currently wearing a small Nightmare on Elm Street hoodie with a Dare logo on the back that is a little bigger than your average small, so I'm able to fit in that, so that's cool. I don't know. Friday morning, I took care of some business, some personal business, before I went to do my surgery. I've been going to actual therapy, and we do a video chat every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on my schedule. And, without going into too much detail, I was talking about some of the things that I've gone through, some of the things that I've left unsaid towards the people that I love in my life. And I don't know if you've ever gone to a therapist. This is my first experience going to one on a regular basis, and they sort of offer a lot more questions than answers. But one of the questions she proposed with this particular situation was, why not? What's stopping you? So then you kind of verbally talk about why not and what is stopping you. And it's all based on past experiences. And, she got me to a place where I was able to verbalize the things that I needed to say to a certain individual in my life. Then when I got that out of the way, and my heart was a little bit more open, I wear it on my sleeve anyways, but very visible. Got together with my brother Zach Thomas, and had to be to the hospital, University Hospital in Parma, at 1 p.m. for check-in. Kind of got prepared. In about 3:30-ish, I was put under. Told me it was going to be a 90-minute surgery. I came to it about 6:10, and I was in a sling. And it was everything that I feared. Obviously, limited mobility. But I was still trying to be optimistic. Zach was there. Alice Crawley was there. So we've been, even though we had the 440 feud, we've been slowly forming a bond and friendship with her again in our lives, which is nice. And, the last few days, Zach and Alice both have been kind of helping me, checking in with me. I live with Zach, so he's taken time away from stuff to make sure that I'm in a good position, at least for the next couple weeks. Friday was kind of easy. I was sort of hyper. I don't know why. Energetic. Saturday was sort of a learning process, figuring out how to get out of bed, how to get back in bed, how to use the bathroom with half a good hand, how to pull my pants back up if I have to pull them down to do a number 2 instead of a number 1, how to actually clean myself up with a bidet and a toilet paper stick if I attempt to use a number 2 by myself. Is it possible? Good news, it is. Figuring out how much I can extend my arm to eat. Needing a little bit of assistance with eating. Have to have my brothers, both my brothers Zach and Mike, who've been taking shifts, wash my face every morning. Help me brush my teeth. Probably the hardest thing for me so far since Friday, as I record this is Monday, was taking a bath, which I didn't think was going to be a difficult thing. We filled the bath water up, bubble bath, and threw a bath bomb in, got in there. My brother was washing my hair, being very careful not to get the wound on my shoulder wet. We've got to be very cautious with that because I can't bathe until my first follow-up appointment, rather, on April 1st. What a day, April Fool's Day. And, I don't know, I got to the point where we were done. We were in there for about an hour. A lot of me soaking, a lot of him cleaning me in the areas that I needed to be cleaning. And, I asked him to step out so I could stand up and try to get out. When he left, this is the first time I'd been out of my sling in the 24 hours. And so I guess there was a fear that I didn't realize. Worried that if I dropped my arm or if I slipped maybe, I was going to tear my wound open. Before he left the room, we have a safety rail installed in the bathroom, which we actually had installed for my dad when he was sick with cancer. And I was very adamant that he pulls down as hard as he could on this rail before I touched it, because I didn't want to fall down, because I'm grabbing it with my bad right hand. Which, to rewind for a second, it's funny, in the doctor's office, they asked me, which one's the bad arm? And I had to go, the bad arm, like the one you're doing surgery on? Because I'm not used to calling my left one the bad arm, but that's the one you have to do surgery on. But to go back to the bathtub, I grabbed the safety rail and to pull myself up. And as I pull myself up and I'm like scared to drop my arm, I start to quiver and shiver and feel kind of lightheaded and nauseous. And I was kind of shaking uncontrollably. I can't even talk. I was shaking uncontrollably to the point where, my brother comes back in and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I just kind of shook my head no, because I couldn't say anything, and I just started crying. And, he had me step backwards out of the bathtub, and he just put a towel around me. And I was crying, and I was apologizing. And I can't really pinpoint why. I mean, I'm just kind of going through the emotions that I think I was feeling in that moment. As I was shaking, my muscles were tensing, and it was hurting where I just had surgery. So I think that was increasing fear. But there was also shame and embarrassment and guilt. I don't know why guilt exactly, but just felt guilty for putting my brothers in a position where they have to do this for me as a 38-year-old man. And, the only thing that calmed me down was Mike telling me that, it's all temporary. This isn't forever. It's going to be okay. And, he toweled me off, dressed me. And then I took a pill for nausea, which they gave me nausea pills that I didn't think that I would use, because I have a pretty flawless record. 21 years of no puking. I have not puked yet, but I didn't even think I would feel like I was feeling. Sunday was okay. I just sat around, did a lot of video editing, kept to myself. Today was the first time I'd been out of the house. My brother took me to the grocery store. My brother Zach bought some groceries, walked around a little bit, got some steps in. And, I watched Monday Night Raw, which was okay. Did seem incredibly eventful. Probably going to do a bonus episode talking about Raw and talking about Dark Side of the Ring, which airs, as of this recording, tomorrow for the first time. You're doing Hell in a Cell. I'm talking Mick Foley. So that should be cool. But yeah, I'm just really trying to find my new normal for the next 6 weeks, and it seems like it's going to be an eternity. But I'm going to say it a lot for the next few weeks, but I want to thank everybody that's been donating to the GoFundMe, sending me kind messages and comments. It's keeping me positive. And if you're on Patreon, you should have already saw a video, a raw footage that I edited documenting the first couple days. I'm going to have something for YouTube soon. I'd like to film an intro for it. So be on the lookout for that. And just keep donating, keep sharing, please. I can't stress that enough because, I want to be able to survive through this summer, and I want to get back to doing normal things as quick as possible. But I guess what I figured out, harsh reality of my situation is I thought in 6 weeks, sling comes off and it's the beginning of getting better. And it is, but it's going to be a more challenging journey than I anticipated because I can already feel the stiffness and the weakness in my arm. When you're not using that arm, that limb all the time, it's going to go. And so once the sling comes off, I got to put in the work because I still won't be able to get in my car and drive. It just doesn't go back to normal. And so, the next 2 months after that's going to be shitty. And the next 3 or 4 months after that is going to be shittier because I'm just going to want to be me again. And right now I don't quite feel like me. So, yeah, it's a learning process. But can't stress enough how much I thank you guys. And for the first time in a long time, I've got to do what I always tell you guys to do. I've got to endure today to fight tomorrow. Those shirts are also available at prowrestlingtees.com/Gregory Iron if you'd like to buy one. I think I might be releasing some new shirts in their future to do a self-fundraiser, so be on the lookout for those as well. But I'm going to stop rambling. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to take your questions from social media. Patreon gets first priority. Stick around. We'll be back on Iron on Wrestling. Yo, if you're on a health or wellness journey, you should check out TNT-health.com. Currently, my health and wellness journey is mostly on hiatus. However, Mike and the good folks over at TNT Health did send me a nice little package with stuff to help me with my muscle recovery and plenty of protein. And I'm going to need it as my muscles need that to continue growing and getting better. So I appreciate the organic vanilla protein, which I can mix with absolutely anything. I just like it with a good banana, maybe an Oreo or two, just to feel like I'm doing something a little dangerous. And, of course, in the past, when I was able to lift, the creatine and glutamine helped like no other, both for pre-workout and for post-workout recovery. Lack of muscle soreness. I mean, I have plenty of muscle soreness now, but that's unrelated to lifting weights. Pre-workout, post-workout, everything in between, you can find it at TNT-health.com. It's free to look, and anything you buy off the website, you'll save 10% with promo code IRONON. That's IRONON, IRONON. So, definitely look around and look. Unlike Vitamin Shopper and GNC, Mike is going to work with you directly. He's going to help you with your needs, the things that you want to focus on. He wants you to hit your goals, and he knows you're not going to be perfect. You're going to stray off the path every now and then. He's only expecting 70 to 80% of your goals because he gets it. Sometimes you want to have that cheat meal. Sometimes, you want to go a little over your macros. That's okay. It's better to reach most of your goals than not hit them at all. That's why Mike is holding your hand and helping you. So, what are you waiting for? You want someone that's going to go above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to reaching your fitness goals? Check out TNT-health.com right now, because at TNT Health, it's about your health today, not tomorrow. I've got a good buddy. His name is Juan Ortiz. He owns and operates Of the Dead Designs. That's right. For nearly 20 years, Juan Ortiz and Of the Dead Designs has been creating artwork for some of the most prominent figures within the professional wrestling industry. He's made artwork for me, but who am I when, in comparison, Juan has made artwork for guys in WWE, TNA, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, everywhere in between, Seth Rollins, Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, the Young Bucks. Did I just say the Young Bucks? I did. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Ethan Page. I mean, that's just a small list. Cody Rhodes. You've heard of all these guys. Juan Ortiz has made art for them. And when you hear that, you probably think, well, I can't afford artwork from a guy like Juan Ortiz. I mean, Cody Rhodes, he makes the big bucks. Well, you're wrong, because Juan Ortiz wants to work with you. He started out working for the less fortunate man. I'm not going to call you poor, but, in this economy, a lot of us are pretty much poor. I know I am. Juan Ortiz not only wants to give you reasonable fees, didn't mean to rhyme with that, but he also wants to save you extra money. On your first design, he's going to knock off $20 if you mention Iron on Wrestling. So that's any type of artwork you want for yourself, a friend, a family member, a loved one as a gift, maybe a logo for your business, whether it's big or small. Juan Ortiz can get it done. If it involves fishing poles or clouds in heaven, it doesn't matter. Juan Ortiz does it all. So check him out right now. Go to his Instagram, @OfTheDeadDesigns. Find him on Facebook at facebook.com/OfTheDeadDesigns. Send him a message. Or go to his website, ofthedead.weebly.com, because Juan Ortiz and Of The Dead Designs, they're bringing artwork to life. All right, let's go to the questions that were sent in this week. We're going to start with Juan Ortiz from Of The Dead Designs. He said, have you tried training your feet to grab stuff for you while your arms are out of the picture? Watch chimpanzee videos for inspiration. I can grab basic things with my toes, like pencils, and I really can't think of anything else I've ever picked up with my toes that's not a pencil. I don't know if it's going to go beyond that. So appreciate the thought, Juan, but yeah, I'm pretty armless right now, and it's not going to get any better. What else we got here? Eric Phillips says, what podcast are you recording? Oh, God. Why do I even bother with Eric? Do the women you date know you don't wash your hands? Listen. I explained it in the little documentary that I'm making for Patreon and will eventually be on YouTube, but I'll just leave it at this. If you do not touch your wiener and you do not touch the handle, you do not have to wash your hands. That's just the way it is. There's no reason for you to wash your hands if you're not touching those things. Did I touch my dong? No. It just flopped out of my pants. Did I touch the handle? No. I put my foot on it. So what am I washing? The bottom of my shoe? I'm not washing my hands if I didn't do those things. Eric also says, do you think WWE dropped the ball with choosing Lance Cade over Rob Terry for Jericho's protege? I don't know if the ball was dropped. Rob Terry was contracted to TNA at the time. So I know you're being sarcastic, but also I'll have to look as a reminder. Eric sent me a video of a movie, and I don't know if it was a long time ago or recent, that Rob Terry seems to play a feature role in with lines. So I feel like that's something I have to review for YouTube, a Rob Terry film. Who knew? Eric also says, how do you rate the British invasion amongst all the other greatest factions of all time? Is this a real thing? The British invasion, was that Rob Terry's group? I'm positive that's probably what that is. Let me look it up real quick. The British invasion. What was that? Rob Terry, Doug Williams, right? And who else was in it? Let me see. I got it. Okay. Nick Aldis. Yes, Nick Aldis, Doug Williams, Rob Terry. Wow, yeah, a young Nick Aldis. I mean, pretty low as far as groups go. I will say this, though. Fucking Doug Williams was awesome, dude. Especially, like, in the earlier days of TNA. I loved watching Doug Williams matches. Superiorly underrated. And, Nick Aldis has been a heck of an NWA champion. Rob Terry, what can I say about Rob? Well, he had a wide variety of Affliction shirts, and he knew how to walk. I can't even talk. He knew how to rock that faux hawk mullet hair thing that he had. So there you go. Let's see what else we got here. Josh Excellent says, "Hey guys, long time listener, first time question asker." That's a lie. Greg, how's the bidet working out? Aaron, can you inspect Greg's bum for dingleberries? Love you, bye. Well, Aaron's not here to inspect. Bidet seems to be working out fine. Here's the thing. The bidet was purchased by Patreon subscriber, bestest friend Mike, and I appreciate it. And he was really thinking in advance by getting me a left-handed bidet. So long term, it's going to be great. Short term, my left hand is the one that's injured. So here's the current situation. Let me explain to you how I'm actually using the bidet without assistance. It's a process. what I do is I kind of start to pull off my pants with my right hand. I feel like I should be playing, some sensual music in the background as I described this, but alas, I will continue. As I get my pants a little bit down, these are gray sweatpants, by the way, I have to kind of gyrate, like imagine Ravishing Rick Rude. So I'm gyrating to kind of wiggle them off slowly, surely, but I'm not calling you Shirley. I sit on the toilet. I let loose a number 2. Now, here's where it gets tricky. I have already, on my Amazon purchased toilet stick, I've already pre-wrapped toilet paper on the stick. I then have to stand up off of the toilet, crouch down, and use my right hand and push as hard as I can with my finger to try to get the water going, just a little bit for the bidet. Then I have to sit back on the toilet. Then I have to slowly rotate to the left where the bidet handle is. I've got to turn the rear nozzle slowly until I feel it shooting up my butthole. The water, that is. Then I just let it caress my bung, and eventually, I turn back and I turn it off, and I just kind of let it drip and dry for a second, or 5, or 10, and then I get up and I get my stick and I wipe, and it works out pretty well, pretty clean. So I'm very happy that my brothers do not have to wipe my ass, which was one of my biggest fears. So there it is. Eric Broder Van Dyke says, how Jon Moxley getting Hacksaw's 2x4 stuck in his back make you feel? Oh boy. Good question. If you saw this past Wednesday's Dynamite, Jon Moxley was wrestling Cope, otherwise known as Adam Copeland or Edge. They had a street fight? Went kind of viral because they used the Janice type gimmick from TNA, the board with the nails in it, and it went into Moxley's back. Wheeler Yuta came out, tried to pull it out, and it was not happening as quickly as perhaps anybody would have liked. Definitely sticking in his back. You could definitely see the skin pulling. Very gross. How do I feel about it? I mean, I think it's dumb, especially when you're at that level making that kind of money. I think it could, you could easily fake that and people would still react. I don't know Mox, but I did shows with him back in the day, and I know him enough to know that, he's a crazy person. I mean, if you heard the story, because of the weather, he drove 10 hours to that show to do that, and then he drove 10 hours home after. That's the old indie wrestler mindset, right? Of just like, we're going to make this happen, and I'm going to bust my ass, and, maybe even bust my back with nails, and then I'm going to drive home. So I get that, and listen, I can't talk. Back in November, I went through glass, and there's risks with that, and the glass cut my forehead. So am I much better? Probably not, but I think slightly. I would not willingly have nails stuck into my back. So, and I don't think it does anything good for sponsors long term. I don't think it does any good for, I don't think your most diehard fan base wants to see that, quite frankly. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on that situation. Let's see who else we got here. Any other Patreon questions? We got like 80 people on Patreon, and we got 3 people asking questions every week. Come on, guys. What are you doing? What are you paying me for? Ask me some questions. Jason asked, did your friend Johnny G get you a get well soon card? No, but he's been in constant contact with me, and I do appreciate that. A few individuals for WWE have been in contact with me as far as seeing if I'm okay. It means a lot. I was talking to Alex Shelley a couple days ago, and if you don't know, Shelley actually helps people with nutrition stuff as well. And I like getting my nutrition information from a wide variety of folks. I've always relied on Vincent Nothing, Mike from TNT, always throws me some advice and some insight. I've talked to Tomasso a little bit about some of his workouts, Johnny obviously, but I think I want to get with Alex and see what he can offer me as far as like some sort of guidance, diet, exercise. I just like getting that from all different perspectives, and I'm going to need different perspectives when I'm working triple time, quadruple time, trying to get back to where I need to be for my own health and well-being. Justin Bonifield says, I've been gathering some research on what guys are using for pre- and post-workout. Justin's over on Patreon. I should have got him next. I'm sorry about that, Justin. What success have you had with supplements or a specific routine? So back in the day, when it came to pre-workout, which, I used to use stuff that's not even on the market anymore, like Jack 3D and, boy, oh boy. I'm trying to think in the infancy of my workout days. I've used, it's called Boom over on the TNT Health, which is a nice little pre-workout. I use probably half a scoop of that because it's like 300 milligrams in a scoop. I use that every now and then. But, for the most part, believe it or not, I don't use a pre-workout. Every now and then, if I need it, I'll sip on an energy drink while I'm lifting because I can feel it kicking in while I'm lifting. I try to avoid as much caffeine as I can throughout the day because I don't want to go back to that caffeine headache. And we talked about it for 2 or 3 years. I was not on caffeine as far as energy drinks go. The most caffeine I was getting was from my pop. And so I'm okay with going to the gym with a flavored water or a green tea and sipping on that, and it's fine. Here's the key for me. I am not one to go in the morning because I usually work in the morning. I've got to go right after work. Here's how that happens. I get done with work, and I immediately go to the gym. If I sit down to relax after working, guess what? I'm not going to make it to the gym. That's really my process, man. It's just like once you're up and going, you got to keep going until you get the shit done. Because then I can kick back and relax after I lift. I'll take a shower. The shower will wake me back up, and I can power through the next 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever I got left in the evening. Do my thing, watch some shows, settle in. That's really the strategy for me. As far as post-workout, I'm doing a protein shake. I went through phases for a while when I was doing 2 a day. So this was a while ago when I'd go to Fit Legit when Vince had his gym open. If I were doing 2 a days, I would cardio early in the morning. I would then do lifting. I'm sorry, not lifting. I would do cardio later in the day, then go and lift with Vince. Sometimes it would be cardio in the morning, weightlifting midday, yoga at night. So sometimes kind of 3 a days. One of my favorite post-workouts midday would be, and this sounds crazy, I would have a Pop-Tart and a protein drink. The Pop-Tart giving me a little bit of carbs and sugar, and the protein drink obviously giving me the protein that I need to recover, and a little bit of glutamine. So now my post-workout, it varies depending on my mood. If I'm working out at home and I could just go upstairs and I have that 30 to 45-minute window, I will eat a protein waffle with some bananas, some peanut butter, sugar-free syrup. If I'm at the gym, I will pre-make a shake here at home with some of my TNT Health vanilla powder and add other stuff to it. Add a banana to it if I need to. Add a couple cookies to it if I need to, like small cookies. We're talking, 2 Oreos, which are like 150 calories. So my whole shake total was like 400-ish calories. And again, for me, I'm smaller. My daily calories are somewhere between 1,800 and 2,100 calories. So 400 calories is a large portion of what I'm eating in the day. So yeah, let me know what you're experimenting with, and I'll give you my thoughts. I always liked a good ready-to-drink pre-workout too, but the stuff that I liked, it's not on the market anymore. It's probably for good reason. We're talking like, Red Line, which was a lot of caffeine. I would usually drink a half a bottle of that before they got it off the market. And Extreme Shock. I think it's still available, but it's like reformulated and it doesn't taste the same, so I'm not into that anymore. But it might be something that you like, so just throwing that out there. Harold Pollock says, what's your all-time favorite Mania match? That is such a hard call. There are always ones that I go to that I lean on, and I've talked about them before. WrestleMania 8, Roddy Piper versus Bret Hart. WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. WrestleMania 13, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. A lot of Bret Hart matches, actually. Shawn Michaels and Jericho from WrestleMania 19. The triple threat match from WrestleMania 20 with Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Triple H. There'll always be a fondness in my heart for Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan. I think there's some underrated matches in WrestleMania 7. You know, if I were to go underrated matches, if I were to pick one of my favorite underrated WrestleMania matches, I'd go Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty versus Haku and the Barbarian. It's a low-key, great opener to a WrestleMania match. It's really, really good. Underrated matches at WrestleMania, that people forget about. I think Cody and Ted DiBiase Jr. and Randy Orton was it was a short match, but low-key banger for the time. You know, we were reestablishing Randy Orton as a babyface during that time period. Cody versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, I think, is one that kind of gets slept on from back in the day, especially if you're a Cody fan now. I think you should go back and check that out. And I've put him over before on the show. Cody, so multifaceted, made the best of all the characters and situations that he was given, whether, just having a mustache or being dashing or being disfigured, which I think was the case when he wrestled Rey. Cody could pull off so much, and now obviously he's pulling off the things that he's doing as WWE champion, and he's arguably the most organic, most over, clean-cut babyface we've had since Hulk Hogan. I mean, really think about that. Name a guy that didn't get a mixed reaction, that was beloved everywhere. Perhaps you could argue Bret, but even by 97, he turned heel in America and he was kind of hated everybody else. I think he had respect, but I don't know if we've had a guy who's been able to run over a crowd as well as Cody Rhodes in the last 30 years of WWE, as far as just being white meat, absolute heroic babyface. Kevin Gill, my boy KG, says, do you have a favorite band or two? Is music part of your day-to-day? If you could narrow it down to one item, what's the ultimate wrestling collectible or rare item you own? Oh, boy. Gosh, my favorite band or two depends on where I'm at in time. What I'm feeling in that moment. And KG, I know he's a big, old school punk guy and, old straight edge guy as far as bands go. And, I don't know. I think I've talked about it not too long ago. Right now, I've been feeling songs with lyrics that I can just get behind and I can understand, and that I'm going through in that moment. I've been listening to a lot of A Day to Remember, State Champs, a lot of acoustic and pop punk stuff. Trying to think. Real Friends, always love those guys, and they're actually my real friends. So shout out to Kyle, my boy. I haven't seen him in a while. I got to see them next time they're in concert. And you know what? I love some old school classic rock, man. Tom Petty, Eddie Money. I'll listen to that all day. Phil Collins, Genesis. It's a different vibe than the pop punk thing, but I feel it. I understand it. It takes me to a place, usually a better place, So those are kind of my go-tos now. If I could narrow it down to one wrestling item or wrestling collectible that I would want to own, what would it be? Oh, boy. Trying to think of something really historic from wrestling history that's if I could have that would be the thing. You know what? I don't want to have it, but I know that there's a chance that I could hold it, see it in person, if I ever see him again, if I ever go to his house. I would like to hold the Winged Eagle Championship and the Intercontinental Championship that are in the possession of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are the two belts specifically that were carried by the men that I grew up watching. We're talking Bret, Perfect, Austin, Michaels, Hogan, Warrior, Diesel, Backlund. Yes, Backlund falls in that category. He did hold the Winged Eagle. Sid, didn't really hold it, but he wore it that one time as like a test run. Luger, right, in '94 when they were trying to decide whether they're putting the belt on him or not. And if I could actually just see those, be around something so legendary, I don't have to have it in my possession. So I think that's the thing that I would want to just be close to for a second. Let's see. Hope Ashburn says, it's not a question. I just want you to know what an inspiration I think you are and have since the first time I saw you wrestle. I think you're amazing. Keep fighting. You got this. Well, I appreciate that. I'm just a dude, but I'm trying to remember that some people don't see me as just a dude and that they can find strength in what I do. I feel like I would do this if I had 2 arms regularly or 1 arm currently. I just push through. I'm too dumb to quit. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to feel the ups and downs, but I'm going to keep moving forward because I've got to. I've got to create. I've got to do these things, these creative endeavors that make me feel alive. Make things that make people feel happiness and sadness and laughter. More than anything, I want people to laugh. That's why, when I was in Buffalo a couple weeks ago, so many people, when I cut my speech about saying goodbye to wrestling, so many people came over and put over me and RJ City, and the tag matches that we had, and the death match that we had, the fake death match that we had. And that's one of the best things I've ever done as a wrestler, because I was able to elicit laughter. As a person, that's the only thing I want, is to make people laugh and smile. So thank you for that, Hope. Appreciate that. Chris Daher says, Daher, Daher. I can't read. What is the perfect sandwich for you? I don't know if I want to say perfect. I got to say, right now, again, sometimes it's just what I'm feeling in this moment. Jersey Mike's has really been killing it with their turkey foot-long sandwiches or their wraps. I think their turkey is super fresh. I think they get it in like every day, something like that. But if I'm going to be a fat slob, you can't top just a standard 2-piece of bread, like 10 pieces of salami sandwich. Yeah, I said 10 pieces, and that's probably being a minimalist here, because I'd like more. You just slather a bunch of salami in between 2 pieces of bread, and I'm a happy man. I'm a poor kid, okay? I grew up poor like that, and just having a good old-fashioned salami sandwich is great. And my dad would always deprive me and only give me 5 fucking pieces, and it used to piss me off. So one of my childhood dreams as an adult man was to have a salami sandwich with a whole pound of meat. And you know what? The second I moved down on my own, I marched right down to the deli, and I bought a whole goddamn pound of salami, and I put it on a sandwich. You know what? Now that I'm verbalizing that sounds like some form of childhood trauma. So I'm just going to move on, and we're going to go to Mike Cochran. He says, if you were to put 3 people into the WWE Hall of Fame that aren't currently in, who would it be? How can people be able to help you in your mental well-being currently? Well, you submitting questions is helping my mental well-being, because for a moment I'm forgetting that I have no arms. You donating to the GoFundMe definitely is going to help, because I don't have to worry about funds. Because listen, I think I can speak for not just America, but the world. Money isn't everything, but boy, it sure helps. And when you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay for your food and your groceries and your mortgage and your utilities and your car payment, it makes life a lot easier. And not being able to do anything physically for a while, I'm going to be feeling the stress. So there's that. 3 people currently not in the Hall of Fame that should be. Well, right off the rip, I'm going to say Cyndi Lauper for the Rock and Wrestling Connection. I'm going to say Miss Elizabeth for her contributions as, basically the first lady in the history of WWE. And gee golly willikers, if I had to pick a number 3, who are we missing I mean, I'm happy that Earthquake's finally going in. That would have been a pick for me. Lex Luger would have been a pick for me, but they're going into this Hall of Fame. Number 3. I mean, it's got to be Demolition, right? They just signed that Legends deal. I think Demolition needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And you know what? This might be controversial to some, but I just heard, and I don't know if it's confirmed to be true, but Crush, his family just signed a Legends deal. If we're going to put Demolition in, you might as well put in Crush too, because he was the third guy, right? I don't think people liked that he was the third guy, but I liked Crush, not in Demolition per se, but I liked him when he was doing the babyface Hawaiian gimmick. I hated him when he was feuded against Savage as Kona Crush, and he was aligned with Yokozuna and Fuji. I think that's my favorite period for Crush. I wasn't really a big fan of the Jailbird thing, but it was like a way to bring him back to TV. And, Bryan Adams to me was very forgettable in WCW. But, yeah, I think those would be my easy picks without thinking too hard about it. Eric Komar says, I'm a timekeeper for a local independent. I've worked about a dozen shows. In your view, do I need to be smartness up to the finish, or is it better than it's a surprise to me as well? I think you mean smartened up to the finish. I don't think you need to be smart up to the finish. I think as long as you're paying attention, you're going to ring the bell, right? I mean, that's really your responsibility, and you may or may not have to legitimately keep time, right? Like you might have to record how long the match went. So as long as you're paying attention, and the ref gives you the point and says ring the bell, I think you're good to go, man. Nothing to worry about. Feel like you're overthinking here. Just make sure you're paying attention. And also, I don't know, the fan in me kind of wants to be surprised. I don't know how the finish is going down, if I'm commentating or something. So sometimes, like when I'm invested in two guys that I really care about and they're having a match, I don't want to know what the finish is. I want to be surprised. I want to go on that ride. So, let's see what else we got here. Melissa Medic says, should they have stopped with Ghostbusters Afterlife? No. I liked Frozen Empire. Obviously, far from my favorite Ghostbusters movie, but I didn't have a problem with it. There was some good and bad in it. Definitely a lot of loopholes, plot holes for sure. And, if they make another one, I'll be mad about it. You know why? Because I want the next generation of kids to know what Ghostbusters is, right? I don't want to have to just have them watch the old stuff, because sometimes, it doesn't translate. When you have to play something from a previous generation, you want them to get invested in basically on the current generation, so that way they can appreciate the older stuff, right? Like that's kind of how it works. Though it varies, if they're too young to know any better. Like perhaps maybe in a couple years I could show my niece Sydney, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and she won't know the difference, right? Because she's not old enough to understand that this was filmed during an era without cell phones and Bluetooth and TikTok and whatever the fuck the kids like. And yeah, so I mean, it could translate. Maybe I'm overthinking it, right? We do have some other questions, but you know what? Just the fact that I was able to do almost an hour today, considering my up and down mindset, kind of a miracle. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to focus on trying to eat, maybe cleaning up a little bit, and getting through today, enduring today, so that I can fight again tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I'm going to revisit my autobiography journey. I've got the next 4 to 6 months of my life to work on that with no excuses. So I could either find the excuses or I could find a way. And I'm going to find the way. By golly, I'm going to find the way. And I hope you find the way back to the show next week. But before we go, once again, thank you guys so much for your support. It means the world to me. If you'd like to contribute to the GoFundMe, it is linked in my bio over on Instagram. You can find it in the comment section of many of the pictures that I've been posting. Keep in mind, I've got a buttload of extra stuff on Patreon if you want to invest in that. I'll be uploading stuff all the time, documenting what I'm going through. So if you want to stay in the loop first and foremost and get more information than maybe you even want, patreon.com/ironandwrestling is the way to go. ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron if you want to buy my shirts. I do have some shirts in my personal possession, so if you would like something sent to you personally with maybe some extras, maybe a signed photo, you can DM me on my social media at Gregory_Iron on Instagram or Facebook.com/TheHandicappedHero. Of course, follow Iron on Wrestling on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you download podcasts. It helps create visibility for the podcast. Check out our new videos over on the YouTube. We uploaded a rare video from the WWF in 1983 with Kurt Hennig. We uploaded a rare clip of Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Jacques Rougeau, where Jacques Rougeau pins Hollywood Hogan. It's a quick clip, but it's worth a look. I've never seen it anywhere else on social media, so definitely something you want to check out. And of course, I uploaded a brand new From the Pages of a Wrestling magazine featuring in-depth look into the December 1996 issue where Hulk Hogan had first turned heel at the Bash at the Beach. We compare and contrast Hulk Hogan's heel turn to that of John Cena's and what people were saying in real time in July of 1996 when this all went down. So thank you guys as always for supporting. DM me if you need anything. I'll be around. And I guess until next week, or if you're on Patreon, you're going to see the bonuses that I'll be dropping. But until next week, thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to try to keep my spirits high. You do the same. I love you all. Kiss goodbye.